Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and today I would like to share with you guys my final thoughts on the Shanzhou folding pocket knife. Now I want to start off by telling you guys that I'm going to be unnecessarily critical with a lot of the issues that this knife has, and the only reason being is because that's how this community grows. That's how quality, fit, and finish that we all as knife lovers deserve at various different price points. Now, starting off, I want to talk about price. I did purchase this off of Amazon. I got it for around 35 bucks. I actually have my laptop here pulled off to the side with a crap ton of windows open because I also have a short list of 5 knives that I would recommend to get instead of this, with reasons being, when I get to that. But the regular price, it says the typical price listed $59.99. No way in hell should anybody spend $60 of their hard-earned money on something like this. And it seems like this is kind of one of those listings where when you look at it, it's like, okay, well, the price says that it's $60 and there's a $50 coupon that you can, not $50, excuse me, a 50% discount code that you can add to the purchase. I've had this knife for, I think, over a month, and I kind of just forgot about it because I had other stuff coming in that really took more of my attention. But so I haven't spent a whole lot of time with it. I have used it, right? I haven't sharpened it. I have disassembled it, and it was an absolute pain to do so. But this is a knife that the price hasn't changed much, so it's almost like it's an item that they're making it sound like it's worth more than, that it, like the price is higher up, and the item, you're getting it at a steal at 50% off. It's a crazy deal, right? It's got to be good, and I definitely fell for that. And I do want to say that there are a lot of little elements of this knife that I, as an enthusiast and a user, do actually enjoy, and I really do think that this design can be improved upon. I'm not saying trash it completely, but there are many little things that can make this an outstanding budget knife, and we'll go through all those little nitpicks in a second. First off, I'm just going to open this. This is what it looks like. Very standard leaf shaped blade, satin finish. You get a little avocado shaped hole. There's a slight chamfer. The way that it's shaped, the sharpness of the actual chamfer, perfect. It's freaking sweet. I like it. I love deploying this with the hole. Flipper tab, not so much. While it does feel nice coming out, right? Feels good. The detent feels on the lighter side, yeah. Disengaging it is probably the most uncomfortable and one of the worst parts about it. Another little cool thing that I like is you have a polished spine. You don't see that too often. It's kind of weird. I kind of like it. I kind of dig it. You do get a healthy sharpening choil and plunge grind right there. I like that quite a bit. And just G10 with inlay G10 for a different color. There are 2 different color variations. There's this kind of like mustard, really old mustard, when you leave mustard on like a plate overnight and it gets kind of like crusty brown. Yeah, that's what this is. It looks very vibrant on pictures through my phone and my laptop, but in person it's crusty mustard. And then there is a green or forest green G10 inlay color. Let's do some size comparisons. We'll take the weight. So I already talked about price. Yeah, this thing's gonna have me all over the place because, like I said, I'm not here just to, crap all over this thing. I want to say, all the good stuff about it, all the things that could be improved to make it something where, people in the community that are looking for a budget knife could actually pick up to add to their collection, right? To actually use it. So here we have the Wheat Praxis Doug Ritter RSK full size. So it is on the more, compact size, right? Nothing crazy. Got a PM2, a Native 5, So it's a little bit longer, -5. And last one we're going to use here, I usually have my Civivi Elementum, but it's still currently disassembled. I haven't finished it yet. I promise I'll finish it. I'm working customizing some of the stuff on it. Vision FG Civivi, if I didn't ever say that. So yeah, that's we're gonna end that with size comparisons. Let's take the weight on this. 4 ounces, nothing crazy. I don't mind it at this size. It does feel a little dense for the size, but you know, that's coming mainly because it has full thickness steel liners. They're not inset. They're, you know, you could see them. And then of course a thick G10. The liners aren't super thick, but there is 0 milling inside, which is not that great. That was an opportunity for improvement, definitely. One thing I do absolutely enjoy is looking straight down at it. To me, that's a good bit of pass-through room for your thumb to land to disengage that liner lock. Also, it's chamfered right there and on the opposite side. So comfort, a good bit of comfort. But where the discomfort comes is when you go to disengage it, that flipper tab, first I want to say that there is a ceramic detent ball and it's poking out a lot, like a lot. You can see it right there. It almost looks like it wasn't pressed in far enough. It's almost like barely hanging on in there. So this could very well just be my unit. There's a possibility, of course. This is the only example I've checked out. But because the detent ball sticks out so far, it doesn't have the best time getting onto the face of the blade to easily come down and disengage. There are bearings, ceramic bearings. They are nylon cage, which is nice. I like that, appreciate that. But you don't really get to enjoy the like super smooth like bearing action that a lot of typical knives have, whether they're expensive or budget. And again, I have a list of budget knives that are maybe even around the same size or smaller that have way better action, and they're budget knives. You don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get super smooth bearing action. This was almost pointless because of just the fit and finish and the tolerances that this thing has. Another little thing I wanted to point out is that on the back piece over here, you could see where your index finger lands after deploying the flipper tab. It's a little chamfered comfort spot. I like that. That's cool. I don't see that too often, and I appreciate that. That's nice. The pivot is free spinning, which is unfortunate because they Loctite the crap out of this. What I ended up doing was, I have relatively thick callus on my fingers. So what I did was I mashed my thumb into the actual little symbol there. It's milled out. So it's a little sharp, little grabby. Took my driver, put it on the other side, and just pressed my thumb in as far as I can. The pivot face was essentially digging into my thumb to, you know, create resistance for me to break that all that Loctite that was gunking up the threads. So that wasn't fun to do when it came to disassembly. But you have T8 for the pivot, T6 for the body screws. They're not the best quality screws. Also T6 for the pocket clip. You have a bent steel pocket clip, and the actual room that you have for your pant material is essentially non-existent. You can bend it out, you can bow it a little bit if you want, but you shouldn't have to do that in any price range. So that is an absolute no-go. There are plenty other pocket clip designs that are very inexpensive that could have completely prevented this. I would say in this price range, a standard wire pocket clip would have been more than enough. One thing I do appreciate is that after cleaning disassembly and reassembly, it came back together really well, really easy, and it's perfectly centered, which is very impressive. So again, I'm going back and forth, good and bad, good and bad. I'm pointing out like all the things that I really do like about this thing, but you know, pointing out the negatives. And you know, now I want to talk about some of the things that could have been done to improve the design overall or in a future iteration. From what I understand, looking at Shenzhou and their lineup and products on Amazon, I didn't search them up individually to see if they have an actual like online store, but it looks like they primarily do kitchen knives and the Damascus Sandmite style kitchen knives. They look beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Are they performance oriented? Probably not. Do they function well enough to be used in really anybody's kitchen who is not like a kitchen knife connoisseur or snob? Yeah, I would have them in my own kitchen. They sell all the kitchen knives, different sizes and styles. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they sell a block and their own branded whetstones for, you know, maintenance, of course, if you want to do freehanding, which is cool. So it's almost like this was really their first attempt into a folding pocket knife, and they got a lot of things right that a lot of smaller brands or brands that are creating their first folding knife design miss. And they got a lot of things right here. Like I said, the polished spine, there's jimping. It's well enough. It's deep. It feels good. It feels, you know, like it's meant to be there. The hole perfectly shaped. The chamfer around the hole, grabby enough. Sharp neutral and plunge grind. That's sweet. This is in 14C28N, and while I have not sharpened it yet, I have stropped it, and it performs excellent. I mean, this is a recipe for success. Very thin stock, super delicate tip right there. I wouldn't do anything crazy with it, of course. Thin behind the edge, fully flat ground. I mean, again, a recipe for success. So they got that right, which is sweet. I do appreciate the fact that there's the ceramic detent ball and the nylon cage ceramic bearings. That's cool, but you can't really appreciate those really. And then, I mean, I personally, if I were to help, you know, recreate this knife, I would get rid of the flipper tab completely, because the positioning of the hole, it's excellent, and it's really nice to get to it. Reverse flick, it's wonderful. It's not uncomfortable by any means. It's good to go. But the flipper tab absolutely just gets in the way. It looks ugly, and while it functions well for itself, it gets in the way of enjoying the knife as it is. That's really about it. You have these two little steel standoffs here, but from what I can tell, yeah, they're just steel. There's nothing crazy about them. So there's a couple little things that, you know, I would change visually speaking. If the company can save money on production of this knife by not having the dual colored G10, just do solid G10. If the contouring and milling of, you know, these grooves would save money, then save the money there and just do simple rounded contoured. Do some, you know, little texture like how the peel ply texture is on other G10 knives. You have what is it, Spyderco. They do amazing peel ply texture G10. Kaiser, Civivi, WE, like all these other brands that have, of course, a little bit more well established, but even ones that are only a couple years old. Like, for example, this is the next knife that I'm going to be reviewing. This is a QSP Canary, and this is solid G10. And while it is flat, it's not contoured by any means. They chamfer the edges well enough. It's textured enough to where, even though this is a compact size knife, functions extremely well. So if Shenzhou can save money in production by just simplifying a lot of different things, they could actually create something quite wonderful. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just pull up a bunch of other things that I would recommend instead of this, because yes, I understand this is a budget-oriented knife, so I'm really only gonna pull up budget knives that would float around the same price point. And these prices can vary, of course. If you're watching this, far into the future, prices could change. The models that I'm sharing may no longer be available for all I know. First off, I want to start with this guy, and while it does cost a little bit more, has a lesser blade material, the quality and fit and finish is night and day. What you see here is heavily modified. It didn't look like this, of course, when I got it, but this is the Kizer Porcupine. This is one of my favorite knives from Kizer this year, and it's a budget knife. I mean, Kizer pumps out a butt ton of knives every year, and this was the one. When I saw it, I was like, yep, I need that, I'm buying it. I knew it was going to be a budget one, so I was like, all right, cool, it's going to be really easy to buy it. This guy, I found it directly on Kizer's website. It is available. It's $42.30. So it costs a little bit more versus 35 bucks, but the quality, fit and finish is sick. It's in comparison, it's incredible. And this is what I was talking about. You have flat G10 scales, but you have texturing. Scales, they do their job. They allow for grip, texture, things that we like. This is a very, very inexpensive, cheap bent steel pocket clip, and it's not milled into the scales, it's sitting on top of them. But look at all that room right there, because you don't have little button head screws. They're flat. They're still T6, right? I'm not going to complain about it at that price point, but you have a whole lot more room. This goes in and out of the pocket flawlessly. So there's that guy right there. Definitely enjoy it. This is a little bit different. This is a free Tiger knife, something that is very reminiscent of the standard Benchmade bug out. Not a copy, of course, but a very close resemblance, something that takes a lot of influence. Definitely, let me find it. Like I said, I have like 5 or 6 windows opened up. Okay, here it is. So this one that has the carbon fiber, and it is real carbon fiber, which is cool. It is $27.99. D2 blade material, strong Omega springs, very healthy Omega springs. I love it. $27.99, and you could add a 10% coupon code during the recording of this video, so that's cool. But there are cheaper variations of this. There's a solid black G10. There's a solid green G10. $23.99. $23.99, and you get something with super fun fidgety action, wonderful simple ergonomics, and a well heat treated D2 blade. So yes, lesser blade material, but in comparison to everything else, also this is actually ambidextrous. You can drill holes through this because there are actually threads on this other steel liner, so you can do that if you want to. This doesn't have anything for lefties. Of course, it is a right-handed, liner lock, so, there's that argument, of course, but there are plenty of single-sided knife designs that allow for, left-handed people to enjoy as well. So there's that guy, and then I have 2 by same company, so I'm just going to pull them up at the same time. This is a small company that came up just really within this year, Remet. They started it off as QYGMGS, and I've been able to experience many of their models, starting off with their budget ones, of course, and they've kind of been a little inconsistent. Some stuff is really cool, sometimes they miss a mark on certain things, but they've really improved this year, and it's just such a short period of time. They've done incredible work. So the one here at the top is the Remet Rhino. The one here at the bottom is the WD-107. It doesn't have an actual name. It's just a, I guess, model sequence. These are both button locks. This one has a integrated detent system that supposedly they weren't making anymore on newer productions of the Rhino. I don't know. I like it. I don't mind it. This is a very controversial knife. There's some people that love it. There's some people that don't like it because it's not like a typical button lock knife. This is also another button lock knife, but it's just a simple plunge lock. It doesn't have that detent system. So starting off with the Rhino, I know I paid a little bit more for this one, but during the recording of this video, it's $33. $33. That's for the natural micarta one. That's this one right here. But there is a black micarta, black coated, $35. There's a bead blast finish blade with green micarta that is also $35. So there's a couple dollars more and you get the same blade material. And this I have sharpened up twice. It's excellent. It's wonderful. I have very, very little nitpicks and complaints about this, but in comparison, your money is better spent here. It's also a compact overall design, and you don't have a big old flipper tab getting in the way of choking up on that blade. So the next one is going to be, okay, I already did the Free Tiger. Yeah, so the Vermet WD-107 says that it's $50, but during the recording of this video, you could apply a 30% coupon. That coupon was actually still available when I got this a couple weeks ago, and it comes out to like $35. This is a lot of money, a lot of knife for the money. This is truly wonderful. This is another knife that's up next on, for me reviewing it, and it's gonna get a stellar review. It really is. And essentially for $35, I would be okay with paying $50 for it with, zero discount, zero promotion code or anything like that. To me, this is a $50 knife, and it's wonderful to be able to pick it up at, $35. So also 14C28N, wonderful action, fit and finish, very little to complain about it. Same thing on both of these guys. Their pocket clips, they're not fancy, but they've done it in two different ways. This one is actually inset into the micarta with flat screws, so there's a low profile bent steel pocket clip, goes in and out of the pocket flawlessly. It's wonderful. You cannot reverse it, which is unfortunate, but for safety reasons, because the button lock is on this side and where it's positioned on the actual knife wouldn't be a good idea for left-handed people. I got into that on the actual review. You can go check it out. And the actual review video of mine later. This guy, you can reverse the clip, but it sits on the micarta scales. But look, nice and flat, plenty of clearance, and those are the screws. You just swap over. That's it. And the very last one, this one's gonna cost a little bit more, but I know for a fact you can find it cheaper elsewhere. I believe White Mountain Knives, you can use like discount codes and stuff like that from other reviewers. This is going to be a lot smaller, yes, a whole hell of a lot smaller, but if you look at the amount of handle room, it's not too different. It really isn't that much different. You do get a little less usable cutting edge there, but not much, not something that's super significant. This is the QSP Canary, as I mentioned earlier, and it has a lot of wonderful little aspects. I have it pulled up on Amazon because this is where I got my unit from. $41.95. There might have been a promotion at the time when I got it, but I kid you not, there are how many different color variations? That's 6, 12. There's like 20 something different colorways and blades that you can choose from, so that's incredible. And of course, QSP is a relatively well-established brand at this point, so they're able to be a little bit more consistent and pump out cool designs, different colors. Tolerances have gone up definitely, but you also have same blade material, 14C28N, a very, very dainty, delicate tip, super thin blade stock, very thin behind the edge. It's a wonderful user of a knife. And again, with the G10 and the pocket clip, it is reversible. There's a little filler tab there. I know that costs extra money, so I wouldn't expect that. Some designs, they just leave a hole there, or they just leave it how they do on the WD-107, where it sits on the scale itself. But they kind of went the extra mile here. And this is a very small, very compact design, so it'll just take a little bit more time and machine work and precision to get all that, and that costs money. So this costs a little bit more, but with discounts, I'm sure you could find that this thing is pretty darn close to a very reasonable price to what this Shenzhou costs you. So again, bent steel pocket clip and plenty of room for your pants And the screws, while they are rounded, they sit deep enough to where they're not going to snag. So that's cool. I hope that if this company sees this, if they have a US representative or somebody that, you know, understands English, because I know this is an overseas company. I don't mean anything, you know, wrong by this knife. I want to see something like this come out from them that is just better than what this is. They hit the mark on a lot of things, as I mentioned earlier. The blade itself, it's excellent as a cutting tool, and that's just it. Just as a cutting tool, bomb. This thing is great. A recipe for success. Tall, flat grind, thin stock, thin behind the edge. It's awesome. Really is. But there's a lot of other little things that people really want. And this is missing a lot of those things. Look, they even got jimping on the flipper tab. You know how many brands, and even now well-established brands, that are putting out knife designs that cost hundreds of dollars for the consumer, and they forget to put jimping on the flipper tab? Like, that's really embarrassing. And look, they went almost all the way wrapped around, maybe one or two right there, could have missed it. But, you know, they did that. So I know that there is good intentions behind this. And I know I probably put a little bit too much, you know, effort into making this video, because this is really just like a $35 knife. But things needed to be said, right? So I hope you guys see those little nitpicks, and I know that I could have been very overcritical about a lot of different things. Again, it being in the price point that it is, I just don't like the fact that it says that the full price is $60. Like, nah, this is there's no way in hell, even 5 years ago, that this would be a $60 knife. I'm sorry, but it wouldn't be. So that's really unfortunate. I hope that they kind of redo this, make something a little different, or maybe just make a separate model with, of course, you know, taking the critiques from the community. I know a couple other people that, you know, do reviews on budget knives, that they've picked this up, and they have, you know, things to say about it, good and bad. But this is just my take on it. And like I said, there are a lot of good things about it. There really are. But there are a lot of things that really ruin it, even in this price range. So that's pretty much it. I don't think I missed anything. I did my typical size comparisons. I talked about price, took the weight. Yeah, that's about it. If you guys like this review, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your guys' support and your patience. Of course, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, because I have plenty more videos coming your guys' way. And with that being said, have a wonderful rest of your day.